Hey, this is Jermaine Morgan, and you're watching Jermaine Morgan TV. In today's lesson, I want to talk to you about muting and rhythmic playing. To break it down in a nutshell, what it is basically, well, you ever heard some of those bass players that play really, really percussive? I mean, it sounds like they're almost playing, basically what you heard me doing earlier in the beginning of the video. I wanted to break it down for the people that didn't understand or don't understand how to do that or how to even approach doing that, because I know sometimes as bass players, those are things we naturally do. And me, I love to specialize in the things that most people don't tell. Because most of the, like I said, I don't believe people don't say anything about them because they're trying to hold information back. I don't think that's the reason. I believe it's just something, again, that most bass players just naturally do, and we don't think about it. So if you're not thinking about it, it's hard to explain things that you don't think about. But it was brought to my attention, and I wanted to break it down to you and just kind of introduce this whole idea of muting and rhythmic playing. So check it out. All right, so as you can hear, I'm just kind of playing around, having fun, getting into the groove of things. But a lot of what's going on there is I'm listening. In this particular case, I'm listening to the click track, and it's creating a lot of that groove for me. Because when you hear a nice beat, and even though I'm doing this with the click track, I want you guys to kind of get comfortable with listening to different songs, different albums, the drum beat, the rhythms of things that you hear when you listen to music, whatever type of music you play. This is just one example of a groove. But I want you to be able to listen to all types of music and kind of get the idea of what you want to do just by hearing the beat, you know, like, hear those shakers? And really what I do is sometimes I'll pick out a couple of elements. Really, I'm not like singling it out. I'm doing it for the sake of this lesson. I don't really, when I listen, I don't really just single out, okay, this is the shaker doing this. It's like I'm hearing everything together. All of it is working together for me. And rhythmically, I can't talk today. Rhythmically, it could be the piano that's playing some type of rhythm. It could be the hi-hat pattern that the drummer's doing. It could be the overall groove, or it could be something that the organ player does or something that the guitar player does. But I'll find something, and most of the time everything as a whole, and I'll lock within those rhythms, and it'll create something that I start playing around. Like, I'm slowing it down. Now, what I'm doing as far as getting into this muting thing, now the rhythm and understanding the muting, it all goes in together, because that's a certain rhythm that you're trying to create over here. Now, my fingers are working together. This hand here is just kind of riding over the strings. And my notes over here, I'm trying to make sure that they're short. Real staccato when I'm playing a groove like that. Instead of... It's a difference. I'm playing the same thing, but it doesn't have the same effect as doing. And you notice when you're playing that kind of rhythm, you can get away with doing more ghost notes, kind of like letting up off of it a little bit in your left hand. Now the thing is, I'm not pulling my hand all the way up off of the note once I finish playing. And I think I talked about this one time before in another lesson about getting those ghost notes. But I know it's one of those things that can be easily overlooked, and you hear other bass players playing a certain thing. You're like, man, how are they doing that and getting that real percussive, almost like a drummer type sound? That's really what it is. That's all it is. We're doing this whole kind of, I play that groove that I was playing. I'll play it really slow. You see what I'm doing? I can play all of them like this. I can play it like that, or I can play it. See what it does, even if we do it in a different key, it still insinuates the same thing, because it's like, even though I'm not playing all four, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm not playing all four of those notes, but if I'm playing it as ghost notes, it still kind of insinuates the same thing because I'm muting. And when you're playing it real fast, it gives you that idea, and you're playing certain notes short. And some of those notes I'm even skipping over. So it's like you're getting in the spaces. The biggest thing about it is like every note is important, but at the same time, when you're playing grooves like that, what I say might sound like an oxymoron here, so I'm gonna be careful how I say it. When you're playing grooves like that, every note is important, but don't take every note so seriously, if that makes any sense at all. So here's what I'm talking about. It's like the stuff that's, some things you can leave out. It's a perfect example. Is almost like a I don't know if you guys ever watched a drummer at a live show take a solo, and it's a real laid back kind of solo. He's not just going playing every 10,000 notes that he knows. It's like certain drummers can play solos and they'll play the groove. It's like they might be, it's like they pull you so far into their solo when they're playing that groove, they can start taking away elements from the groove and just giving you just a snare drum, or just giving you just a kick drum, and you just sitting there just kind of bobbing your head and just nodding to the groove, because it's certain things, after you've established them for so long, it just carries itself. And you can start, like as a producer, when you start thinking like a producer, you start thinking less is more. So even though, like when it comes to me and it comes to my soloing and that stuff, on certain things, even though I know a whole bunch of riffs and runs and all this kind of stuff, sometimes because of what you're insinuating, you don't have to say as much. You don't have to play as much. You don't have to give as many notes. And you can get away with doing less things, and it's more effective because you're letting people's imagination take over rather than you're doing all the pushing and everything. It's almost like a roller coaster ride. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of thrust that goes into trying to get that thing to climb all the way up that hill. But once you get there, that momentum is going to take it down and go through all those loops and everything. That momentum is what's going to take them. And every now and again, you could throw in something, but it's really that momentum of what you're creating. So if this snippet was helpful to you and you'd like to see more of this, become a monthly member. If you're not already, if you're already a monthly member, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not a monthly member, you're possibly missing out on a lot of information. I cover stuff like this and other topics that a lot of bass players deal with, stuff that we don't really cover here on YouTube. So if you're not getting this information here on YouTube, please become a monthly member today, and I will see you guys on next week. Thank you for watching. Peace.